Um, so today's topic, like it's already been mentioned, is about leadership in everyday reality. I just wanted to use a text from the Gita as a talking point or a base where we can, expand from there. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So, how many of you are familiar with this great classical work, Bhagavad-gita? Okay. Are the two people? Three. Okay. All right. So this is a very important literature, and even Professor Oppenheimer, the scientist who co-manufactured the atomic bomb and who personally detonated the atomic bomb, he quoted from this literature. And when he detonated the atomic bomb and he saw the blast, he said, "Time I am the destroyer of the worlds." But that very quotation is not actually he's not the origin of that statement. He refused to make attribution to Krishna, and that becomes like a violation of academic integrity. Because when you take someone's words and you don't make the proper attribution, you claim it to be yours. In the academy, we say it's a violation of integrity. So yeah, although he's just a famous person, but he violated integrity. Okay? So this text today is text 21 of chapter 3 of Bhagavad-gita as it is. It's great work. Bhagavad-gita basically was spoken by Lord Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He was speaking to his student, instructing his student Arjuna, who was confused about what to do at the right time. We may be confused about what to do at the wrong time, but if we get confused about what to do at the right time, that's a real problem. And that problem could actually result to a serious crisis. So Arjuna was in a real problem, and then Krishna had to clarify all of his doubts through the dialogue in this book. We are having this discussion here in the Manor. Arjuna had his discussion with Krishna on the battlefield. That is intriguing, isn't it? So, this text hints on leadership. That's why we choose this text. Whatever we have to do, we have to ask ourselves, what is the purpose? What is the motivation? We choose this text because it has to do with leadership. And because we are discussing on leadership in everyday reality, this is a very pertinent text to use as a base. So I will just read the text, the translation, and then the purport. Then we can discuss. It's a short purport, so don't worry, it will be long. Yad yad acharati sestas tat tat evataro jana sat yad paramam kurute lokasta anvartati. The translation is, whatever action a great man performs, common men follow. And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. Purport. People in general always require a leader who can teach the public by practical behavior. A leader cannot teach the public to stop smoking if he himself smokes. Lord Chaitanya said that a teacher should behave properly before he begins teaching. One who teaches in that way is called Acharya, or the ideal teacher. Therefore, a teacher must follow the principles of Shastra, scripture, to teach the common man. The teacher cannot manufacture rules against the principles of revealed scriptures. The revealed scriptures, like Manu Samhita and similar orders, are considered the standard books to be followed by human society. Thus, the leaders' teaching should be based on the principles of such standard sastras. One who desires to improve himself must follow the standard rules as they are practiced by the great teachers. The Srimad Bhagavatam also confirms that one should follow in the footsteps of great devotees, and that is the way of progress on the path of spiritual realization. The king or the executive head of state, the father, and the school teacher are all considered to be natural leaders of the innocent people in general. All such natural leaders have a great responsibility to their dependents. Therefore, they must be conversant with the standard books of moral and spiritual codes. So, permit me to say some prayers to my spiritual master. Om Gyana Timirandasya, Gyana Jana Salakaya, Saksur Militam Jena Tasmai, Sri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest region of ignorance, but my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pishta Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Itinami, Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pacharani, Nebasesa Sanyabadi, Pachatya Disatari. So, again, welcome. And just like the text, the purport and the text bring to bear, a leader basically is not about just being the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. It's not about being the President of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness in London. A leader, by definition, means everyone around here. Because everyone around here is the prospective leader. If even you're a child, you're the prospective leader. Why? And how is that? Because a leader is one who goes the way and shows the way. This is what Krishna mentions specifically in this text. Now, if we go into the secular setting, say if you talk about leadership studies in the academy, there are two main classes or two main approaches to leadership. We have the classical approach, and then we have the contemporary leadership models. Now, this text here, setting exemplary standard, teaching or leading by exemplary standard. This is what we call in academy ethical leadership. Ethical leadership requires that you don't smoke and ask someone else not to smoke. Because if even it's your child, for you to impact on that child positively, you have to set a very good example for the child. And Papa gave the example, which is very pertinent here. I remember the case of the past Indian Prime Minister, what's his name?
David Cameron?
No. Indian Prime Minister.
Oh, current one or previous one?
Is it the last one?
Modi?
Yeah, Gandhi.
Mohan?
Gandhi.
Oh, Gandhi.
I'm sorry, Gandhi. Prabhupada gives the example. He gave a story about Gandhi. How, I think it's Prabhupada. He gave an example about Gandhi, how a lady brought her child to Gandhi and said, this child is eating sweets too much. And she was afraid. If the child gets along in that way, very easily he could be infected with diabetes. So he went to meet Gandhi. Gandhi is a very influential politician, so if he tells a child something, Gandhi told him this. So he has a big ego, pride to follow it. But when this lady went to meet Gandhi about this child's addiction or so much of interest in sweets, Gandhi said, come in 2 weeks or so. So after that time frame, the lady went with the child, and all that Gandhi told the child was, "Hey, stop eating sweets, okay?" So the mother of the child said, "If this is the only instruction that you have to give to the child, why ask us to go back and come in 2 weeks?" So Gandhi explained that. at that time when he brought the child, I was not free from eating sweets. Because I was also infected by, sweet addiction. If I tell this boy anything, I'll be having a guilty conscience. And therefore, that message will not be effective. It will not impact on this boy. And so I gave myself some time to be able to renounce sweets. And now I've given up sweets. And so now that you come and I've given up sweets, I have the guts, I have that courage, that inner motivation and external potency to be able to instruct your child. And rest assured, he's going to follow. So the bottom line is that exemplary behavior carries some potency. If something that you are not able to do, it is so difficult to tell someone to do it because you have that pinprick inside of you. And so, when Krishna mentions here in this text that whatever a great man does, the common man follows, and whatever standard such a great person says, the whole world pursues. Because everybody wants to associate with great personalities. The great leaders, they're role models. Just like you find, even celebrities, they may be very sinful, but they are worshipped all over the world by so many people. And so people want to dress the way they dress, they want to talk the way they talk, they want to smile the way they smile, and all this stuff. And so, in a similar way, if we have kids, as parents, if we have kids, and we're setting a very good example, the children, you don't necessarily need to instruct them. No. They want to act like you. Your kids want to act like you. They want to act out. Antithetically, if we are doing something unethical and we tell the child not to do it, let me give you an example. So I have one small friend in New York. Some years ago, we were at New York Ratayatra. So I was walking to the site. I wanted to use the restroom. So he said, "Man, can I join you?" I said, yes. He was, I think, 11 years or 12 years at that time. I said, yes, join me. His parents are devotees. But he doesn't chant. So we were going, and he said, "Maharaj, can I ask you a question?" We're talking about exemplary life. He said, "Maharaj, can I ask you a question?" I said, "Come on, you're my friend. Feel free. Ask me any question." He said, can someone be chanting japa and at the same time watching TV?" 12 years old. I said, "No, that is very offensive, japa." You know what he told me? Guess what he said? He said, "But my parents do this all the time." This is not Purana, I'm telling you what happened just recently. Yeah. So, because he's my friend, I told him, "Shut up there. You refuse to chant, and someone is chanting." I just try to mellow the situation down. Because his mind is completely polluted. But the parents made him to be polluted. Now you don't tell someone to do something. Now if you have kids, believe it or not, they are listening to classes. They are listening to what other people are saying. You do something contrary, they will challenge you one day. Your kids will challenge you one day. And this is the beauty of having children who have high intelligence quotient. They will mess you up. He didn't tell the parents, but he revealed his mind to me because we're close friends. And I'm very good with young people, okay? I remember some cases, some people will tell me some things, I'll refer them, even some young girls, they will tell me some things, I refer them, "This is a womanly thing, can you discuss with your mom?" They said, "No." Yeah, I've got several cases like that. I said, no, she won't listen to me. Yeah. Again, it's how the child is being treated at home. If you're a parent and then you want to simply impose yourself on your child, they may bend their head and you do whatever you like, but they're waiting for the time when they will graduate and move out of the house. And when they move out of the house, you being the leader who's supposed to guide them, you will regret later. Because when they become professionals involved, or maybe they have had their own families, and you call them, such and such a person is getting married in a family, please, would you like to come with your spouse? He says, yes, mom, yes, dad, yes, I will come. The things you did to them, because they couldn't speak to you, that's the time they want to pay you back. They say, yes, I'll come. The very day, the very date, maybe just an hour to the time of your celebration, he said, Mom, I had an emergency, Or that, something happened, I'm right now needed in the office. Nothing happened. Nothing. They just want to dodge because you didn't set a good example for them. You were emotionally abusive. Emotional abuse is so rampant in society, in the families, in communities, even in our temples. Some people, they don't even know when they emotionally abuse someone. And they carry severe setbacks. Therefore, the whole idea should be that, and I tell people this, we should try to learn to see beyond the physical existence, the physical body. If we begin to look at people, she's a woman, he is a man, I'm a man. Just because you're a man, you're superior to every person? Just because you are an older fellow, you are superior to every person? There are people who became students under the tutorship, under the mentorship of some mentor, and they rise above their mentor. What have you got to say that? There are people, I know of PhD holders, their parents didn't have even a first degree. What have you got to say? And therefore, it is important for us to understand that we have to be facilitators for a positive change in the lives of people that we encounter. Either in the office, either in the communities, either in the family, or in our temples, whatever it is. Because a leader is the one who goes the way and shows the way. It's not a question of someone being a prime minister before you start looking up to him or to her for a good example. Every one of us is a leader. If you understand this, then the onus of exemplary standard is on us. And it's so difficult to be a leader. It's so easy to criticize leaders, isn't it? It's so even easy to criticize your parents. Yes. What is difficult in criticizing your parents? They did this to me. What's the difficulty? But have you tried to parent a child? It's very challenging to parent a child. Oh yeah. And so there should be a balance in our lives. For us to become leaders, we have to be good followers. Without becoming good followers, it is so difficult to be a leader. And some people are just born intrinsically, they want to control. The Ishwara Bhav is there. I went to one temple. I don't want to mention the temple. But I went to one temple, and I'm very good at interacting with people, especially young people. So there was this lady, and she was in charge of some other young brahmacharis or something like that. And I think there was some rift in their relationship. So she came to meet me for advice. I said, but if they don't want to accept you, why don't you just step down and do some other service? You know what she told me? Anyway, I didn't mention the temple, so you can hold me to ransom. So she said, she told me, but who am I going to control? whom am I going to control?
Yourself.
Now, Rupa Goswami says, Wacha Vega, Manasa Kroda Vega, Jiva Vega, Udara Pasta Vega. Eta Vega, Myo Visa Hisa Dila, Sabra Apiman, Pretty Censorship. There's nothing wrong in controlling. But first, we can really control our emotions and we become global leaders. Not just local leaders, global leaders. That is why emotional intelligence is so important in modern day leadership, either in the political realm or industries or religion or whatever. Without emotional intelligence, it becomes so difficult to lead. Now, I'll give you a practical down-to-earth, because we're talking about leadership in everyday reality. I'll give you a practical down-to-earth incident, again, within the recent times, some few years ago. I was in California for a presentation at one of the temples. And so, after the discussion, after the class, a gentleman came to me and was narrating to me about what incident that happened between himself and his 8-year-old daughter. 8-year-old daughter at that time. One day he came back from office for no justifiable reason. He started vituperating this young girl, raining abuses, all type of things. The girl kept mute, kept quiet, tolerated all of the gaslighting that was being rained on her by the father. That incident had passed after some days. Father has forgotten. The girl was still nursing it. The father was happy, the girl was happy, they were eating together, and she brought up that incident. She said, Dad, you know the other day when he came back from office, he did this to me, he did this to me, he did this to me, for no reason. You insulted me like it's not you. Did you have a fight with anyone in the office that day? 8-year-old girl. 8 years old. We're talking about leadership in everyday reality. Here is a little 8-year-old girl exhibiting a sign of a conflict resolutor. Because what the girl did was what we call it resolving deep-rooted conflicts. And it is only expert leaders who do that. So the father, shamefully, he said, he was narrating the story to me. He said, yes, I had a lot of trouble that day in the office, a lot of fights in the office. When he told me that, I couldn't contain it anymore. I said, go and bring that girl here. Go and bring that girl here. You want to bring the girl? I said, you pay obeisance to this girl. And you should beg her for your offense. I'm not talking about Purana. I'm talking about just recent events. What is going on in our communities? What is going on in our families? I spoke to him at length. The tendency is to think, because I'm an older folk, I am the boss. Now, what the girl did was something that even grown-up people, even global leaders may not be able to deal with that. That is how deep-rooted conflicts are resolved. You tolerate the person, you tolerate the insulter. But how many people can tolerate to that degree? Because of the lack of tolerance, because of maladjustment, there are lots and lots of conflicts in our families, in our societies, in our relationships. There are fractured relationships because we do not have that potency of even self-leadership. And if there is no self-leadership, how do we forge ahead in being the exemplary standard that we need to set for the whole world to pursue? So leadership basically A mother is a leader, a father is a leader, a teacher is a leader, a brahmachari is a leader, a brahmachari is a leader. Don't think it's only the temple commander or the vice president of this temple or the president of this temple. Because we do owe a standard to be able to set. It's quite often when people come to our temples for the first time, we want to show them that we are superior to them. We want to tell them that, hey, look at me. I follow this principle, that principle, that principle. I don't do this, I don't do that. Who cares? Who cares about what you don't do? I don't keep it down. People do care how much we love, how much love we show to them when they come. Not about how we exhibit our superiority, tacitly trying to exhibit our superiority to someone. So leadership is about being humble. Humility is a watchword of a leader. Prabhupada, when he came to New York, I go to the place, Matchless Gifts, where he first established the ISKCON. I go there to give classes, or sometimes twice in a month. So that very place was the place where Papa started this movement. As an old man, 70 years old, he would feed people who come there. Not responsible people in most cases, bums, hippies, potheads. He served them. And what he would do was just to give them cater and some talks. But the same people became Goswamis. They are the leaders of the world. So, Krishna consciousness is very practical. You want to be a leader, you have to see how you're following. If we train our children nicely, they'll become global leaders. But if we're teaching our children one thing and we're doing something else, they may not tell us. Children are very reserved. They may not tell us, Mom, what do you mean? You do like this, you do like this, you do like this. Or that, what do you mean? No, they won't tell you that. No. Children, they don't do that. But they will disrespect you from within their heart. Because they will assume that you are a typical, serious hypocrite. And so let's see how we are recreating, reinventing the future of our children. How we are recreating and reinventing the future of the members of our communities. Because we can never tell who becomes the next prime minister of this country. Maybe it's one of those people that we encounter and we're trying to facilitate a positive change in their lives. To initiate a change is so simple, but to sustain that initiation to the end, to achieve the ultimate goal, that is very difficult. How is that? Statistics tells us in management studies that about 75% of change initiatives fail. So that's a serious thing. We may have good intentions. So to be a leader, basically, is about setting good examples. Setting good examples for yourself, for myself, and for the community, for the family. I'll give you another last story before we put the curtain to this. I was in India some time ago, and a gentleman came to me, asked me, what's the best thing I can do to make my wife and my children, my family, a better loving family? I said, it's a very simple thing. I have the formula for you. He said, tell me. So I said, okay, when you get back home to your station, call your wife, sit her down on the table, just, give her some juicy story. And then you ask your wife, my darling, tell me, what are the things that I'm doing in this family that you don't resonate with, that you don't like, that you would want me to adjust, to change, so as to make this family a better family, to make you happy? You know what he told me? They're talking about leadership. I said, the mother is a leader, father is a leader, teacher is a leader, the demigod is a leader, spiritual master is a leader. So the exemplary standard is imperative factor for all and sundry. from the family members. So he turned back to me and said, Maharaj, but if I tell her that, she'll bring a whole long list. I said, then you are not a good husband. So sometimes we are even afraid. And we call this person darling, darling, darling. And we are even afraid to put things on the table, to put the food, the dish on the table to eat together. Asking someone, what are the difficulties I'm creating in your life? That is taking a dish to get on the table. If you can't even do that, then something is wrong. So we have a very good philosophy. And we can become very good leaders if we follow the standard that is required. We have a good philosophy, and we can really become good managers if we embark on self-management first. First, we have to embark on self-management, self-leadership. Then we'll be able to have the impetus to be able to lead others. We have to follow, we have to embark on self-leadership, self-management, and we have to follow. Without being a follower, it's impractical to be a leader. Even the politicians, they have to work under someone. You don't jump. If you've been a multi-billionaire, you don't jump to become a governor of a state overnight. You go serving at the grassroots first, at the local councils, before gradually you grow. That's how it goes. That's fellowship. So, bottom line is that leadership is not circumscribed, and we all should help the world to be a better place to live in by our personal example. That is leadership in everyday reality. A leader is someone who is very respectful towards others. A leader is someone who is humble. And if a leader knows reality beyond the physical manifestation, beyond the physical body, he could really be a very powerful change agent. Any comments or questions? Yes.
Thank you very much for your talk, Maharaj. I really liked how you mentioned that you broke down how leadership can be applicable to most people. It's not just the prime ministers, even, and especially the point about a parent to the child. One question, and I think it is a challenge in everyday life, even if you have the best, most learned, least hypocritical parents in the world, we know now that we have so many external influences through the media, and even if you try and instill values which you feel are the right and correct values, it's difficult because increasingly people are brought up by not just the TV but the phone. And so how would you mitigate against this problem, Maharaj?
Yeah, one of the things that I have 3 of my papers on kleptocracy coming up, being published by 2 journals, published by Emerald here in the UK, okay. International peer-reviewed journals. Those research papers, the 3 papers were on kleptocracy. Kleptocracy basically is about corruption, but grand-scale corruption. So, we complain about corrupt leaders, but the corrupt leaders, I ask people, they fall from the sky? They're from our families. We give birth to them. How did they become corrupt? We are corrupt, and so we give birth to corrupt leaders. It's as simple as that. So yeah, there are basically 2 mitigating factors against sanity in society, against ethical leadership. And the 2 are endogenous factors and exogenous factors, or intrinsic factors and extrinsic factors. Now, one of those intrinsic factors is the gunas, the 10 modes of material nature. If you read the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, one of the chapters is just dedicated to the gunas. Krishna gave explicit details about the guna and how they interfere they interact, they create our personalities. Now, there are three gunas: the mode of ignorance, the mode of passion, and the mode of goodness. Now, everyone is under the permutation of these three gunas in different varieties. So you may have a child who is so paka, who is so ethical, and as they're growing up, they're being bombarded by these gunas in different permutations. And you see that the child who is even so nice, at some moment, he has a different future, different personality, different behavioral pattern. And so that's completely beyond our jurisdiction. Now, there are other forces. In fact, even this German psychologist, Professor Lewin, in 1938 and 39, he developed the field theory. The field theory simply stipulates that we are being impacted by environmental forces, whether we like it or not. These forces are impacting on us, on our behavior. They are affecting our behavior. Therefore, the person who might be even a very good person, and it does not, or she does not undergo some purification repeatedly, you're bound to encounter some challenges. That challenge might be an issue which is not addressed could turn into a problem. A problem which is not addressed could turn into a crisis. So yes, we do have sociological problems that are affecting us, but the good thing is that Lord Chaitanya has created an environment where we can take shelter. When we do take shelter of the holy names, this famous chant for deliverance, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, we will experience sustainable ethical standard, sustainable sanity. This same process is what has turned hippies, potheads, into Goswamis. So if we align our kids, we align ourselves in this direction, we're guaranteed that we can be good examples for the whole world to pursue. Now, without undergoing purification, it's so difficult to be steadily ethical because of the environmental forces. So we are being bombarded everywhere by environmental forces, not to speak of peer pressure. So, yeah, I resonate with you. That's a basic fact, that major factors are there militating against sanity in society. But we have to try to see how we are aligning ourselves and aligning our loved ones in Krishna consciousness so that we are insulated from the negative influence of society. That is the only way, because you see a tube passing, there is a wire going, that's wired in there. The wire is the one carrying the current. Now, that tube is insulating the current from hurting people. As soon as you break that tube, that wire is exposed. Anyone who gets near that place could be electrocuted. Now, the whole wall is exposed to high voltage negative activities. And that's why we are being electrocuted by all of these negative thoughts and negative ideas, and it's so easy to carry a gun and go kill somebody. Even in the high schools, children are killing people. I was already in Kentucky, in the U.S., they were shooting in one school, kids, and they killed a number of people. Every here and there in America, you hear of stories, kids killing people, killing themselves or killing grown-up people. Now the other point is that this one is a little bit tough, but you asked a question, so I'm trying to explain. The other point is, how to bring in children with high ethical values in society. Now, because we don't understand the purpose of life, So we abuse our bodies, all in the name of enjoyment. And then, in the process of time abusing our bodies, all in the name of enjoyment, we give birth to children. And so, how would you expect a child that is born under the mode of passion and ignorance to exhibit qualities in the mode of goodness or transcendental goodness? That's not practical. Now, the Vedic literature explains that for any couple to bring forth a powerful soul, an ethical, powerful soul, they have to elevate the consciousness before even the mating, the process of invoking that child. And so these meticulous scientific values are there, but people are not following. Even in the Bible, it is mentioned, go ye and procreate. It didn't say go ye and enjoy sex. It didn't say so. I came from a Christian background. The Bible never said go ye and enjoy sex. It said go ye and reproduce. In other words, sex should be for what? For procreation. Now you tell me how many people can do that? We're complaining about children, wayward, helpless, vagabond, robbers, prostitutes. What about ourselves? Are we full of sanity? You see, when two dogs mate, it's a puppy that we're giving birth to. Is that correct? Not a cat. Because see, the foundation of sanity in society is procreation. Procreation. So I remember in one of my papers on kleptocracy that it's so easy for people to blame the leaders. You are just thieves. You're just there to steal our money and all those type of stuff. My question is, who gave birth to these people, these kleptocrats? Who gave birth? We gave birth to them before they went in there to become our representatives. It's a simple logic. People don't think about it, but it's a simple logic. We are blaming kleptocrats, especially developing countries where there is so much of corruption. Who gave birth to them? We gave birth to these politicians who are stealing. So we have pathological state of consciousness. That is why we invoke those polluted people kids with polluted consciousness. Now the Vedic literature gives us an idea. We're talking about leadership in everyday reality. Vedic literature gives us an idea about what to do to invoke kids of high social values, high ethical values. Now who are ready to follow? The Vedic literature is like, if you buy any machine, they give you, how to follow, how to use it. They give you a manual. The Vedic literature is a manual of how to utilize this world. It's not saying don't enjoy yourself, okay? But you follow the regulations, there's a systematic approach on how to utilize this body, how to utilize the resources in the material world. And if we follow that, this place will be very happy. But we're not ready to do that. We're saying we own everything, we control, let's use it to the best of our abilities, even to the point that we abuse our bodies. This is the problem. So it boils down to intrinsic and extrinsic factors that are militating against social sanity. And it is Krishna consciousness that can help to elevate society to rise above those factors that are militating against social sanity by dint of internal purification through proper sadhana. Yeah. And see, I've seen a number of devotees that, young devotees even in their offices, that their director just pick them up and train them because they just see their values. Yeah. They just see their values and they realize, what? He's not behaving like any other person, or she's not behaving like any other person. And they pick them up and train them to become top managers. Exemplary standard. If you're living in social, ethically, we radiate a particular type of energy. And even our directors will be attracted to us. They want to see how they help to push us, to facilitate us to get to higher levels. Because those type of people are very difficult to come by nowadays. Does it make some difference? Something. Any comments or something like that? Ladies? We don't want ladies to feel marginalized. A gentleman has asked a question. I want one lady to ask a question before. All right. In the absence of any other questions or comments, we'd like to draw the curtain for the class and maybe follow up with other stuff. So thank you very much for participating in this discussion.
Thank you, Maharaj. We'd like to give a very big thank you. Thank you for enlightening us on the